Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are having a wonderful day. I'm having a fairly good day. Now, retention on these videos is about 60 seconds, and I know people hate it when YouTubers talk about the analytics, but I have something very special to tell you, and I have a very deep request to ask you. Please comment down below what you think of this chess channel, of my YouTube channel. Tell me in the comments if you think I'm just Gotham Chess from Wish, if you think my haircut is stupid. Tell me anything, because I enjoy doing this, but I can only make it a success with your help. There are lots of you who have subscribed. We're still a long way away from being a very good YouTuber. I've still got lots to learn. There's still lots for me to do. I'm still growing as a chess player, but as I grow, I want this channel to grow, and I want to produce content you want to see, and content in a way that you want to see it as well. Not just, I want to see this, but the way you want to see it as well. So please comment down below what you think. But talking about the chess today, it is Tata Steel. It is round 10, and Gukesh has shown up now to just try and win every game of chess that he plays. And with that, we're going into his game straight away. I've spoken enough about retention. Don't care about retention. Gukesh on the board. He's got the black pieces, but he doesn't care about black pieces. We get e4, and the meta at the Grandmaster level is to play e4 or e5 or c5. I know the squares, I promise. Those are the two moves you play. We've seen Dingleran play a French. You could probably maybe play a Nalyokins. Gukesh plays a Pierce. A Pierce defense, or a Perk defense, however you pronounce it. P-I-R-C. A Pierce defense. This defense is so combative because you allow white to have a big center. White doesn't take a big center in this game. They do play c3 and later d4. And now they've got just two lovely center pawns in the center. Obviously, where else would you put them? And black will look to strike back and zone in with the pieces and kind of undermine their integrity. But you can see white, started with the bishop. If we go back right to the beginning, instead of playing g3, you can just play d4, which is the main move. Another move is knight to c3. f4 is a move as well, just taking space. But the game unfolds to the point where we get here, knight to e2. Knight c6 was a slight inaccuracy from Gukesh, but it's a fine move. The evaluation is not really phased. We get this trade, knight to f6, just developing pieces, knight to c3, castles, h3, just a prophylactic move, disallowing anything going to that square. And then we get bishop to d7, short castles, and rook b8. Potentially setting up to take space here on the queen side, getting out of the way of this bishop, almost like a Catalan bishop. So we get the bishop going to e3, b5 as we predicted, b3, allowing the knight to the outside of the board, and white, after fianchettoing the knight, ironically enough, we get takes en passant. Knight plants itself on a very good square. You just got to make sure that this pawn is defended because it's a weakness. But in exchange, white has this pawn as a weakness. You got to think about these in chess. So we bring our knight across, targeting the bishop. We don't just take this bishop. We're like, no, my knight is going to be better than that bishop. That bishop had one threat. My knight is probably more useful. So black strikes in the center. This is the whole idea. It's an inaccuracy, but it's not that big an inaccuracy. We lock the center, the knight has to retreat, and now we just play queen d2. And you will see this a lot. When you've got a fianchettoed bishop here, you go and trade it, because then the dark squares become really weak around the black king. The bishop now retreats, the black light squared bishop, and we get rook to c1, natural move. Rook c8, rook a1. Just retreat the moves. You don't need to rush with this. This is always here. At the moment, it's defending your center, and you need to get your rooks defended and on fighting for what could be an open file soon. Now, it is an open file. We attack the queen. Queen retreats. We bring back the bishop. It could see nothing here, so now we're going to get it to a diagonal where it would be more useful. So it gets snapped off. We take with the king so that our rook still fights for the open file. And here, Gukesh makes a decision to strike at this white center. We'd get takes, knight takes, now reactivating on that side of the board. We trade a set of rooks, and a fatal mistake by Max Warmerdam. Rook to c1. This is move 28. The game ends in less than 10 moves from here. Rook to c1. is a fatal mistake. There is actually only one move that keeps the game level, and it looks shocking. Knight c3. Nope. Knight to c3, sorry. For some reason I thought that was knight to c3. That's knight to c4. Knight to c3. You close everything off, then you can bring the rook. Instead, rook c1 was played, and that allows the best move, knight e4. We attack the queen, queen slides back, and now we go here. You might say, but couldn't I just take this queen? And this comes with check, though. Even though you can go here, I win the rook. Let's say you win the knight. Black's up material, they're up the exchange. They dominate this whole file. This knight's well placed. That bishop always puts pressure on this pawn. This is just positionally winning for black. So queen d1. Now we can slide the queen over here, threatening knight captures, and we can take. And you might say, but why can't I take the knight? Because you get forked. Because we go here, and then we grab here. You couldn't go to the f-file because of the rook, despite my best attempts. So instead, knight to c5. The knight simply retreats. Gukesh is now up a pawn, but he's positionally winning, positionally dominant, and even though white does their best to force counterplay, we end the game like this, where we just force pieces off the board. Because we're going to take something. The black king is completely safe. There are no sacrifices. There's nothing you can do. And Gukesh wins in astounding fashion. He was handed a victory, but he was positionally dominant. The thing is, you might say, oh, he made a one-move mistake with 6 minutes left on the clock. How long did he think? He thought for 5 minutes and made a mistake. But the thing is, Gukesh got the position to be in such a way that there was only one move to hold advantage. The thing is, the next best move is minus 1.7, and that is knight to c5. So 2 knight moves that you've got to consider blocking this file. Even after, and then, so it's hold level, minus 1.7, and then what was played, rook c1. Like, options after that just make the game worse. And it looks like a natural move. You just move to the open file and you attack the queen. But you miss this 94 idea. When you move your knight to either of these squares, it covers e4 from these 2 outposts. It covers e4, so there is no knight e4. Very important. That was not the only decisive victory today. One of the people chasing Gukesh, Nodirbek Abdusattorov. You can see the game is ended, but why would I cover him if he didn't win? He's playing Alexei Sarana. e4, c5. It's a Sicilian defense. But we get the strangest Sicilian, man. We get takes, knight f6. This is still the main line. And we get a Najdorf Sicilian. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not joking when I say from here, white has like 50 moves. You've got the bishop going here, here, here. You've got rook g1, the freak attack. You've got g4 straight up. You've got h3. You've got bishop moves all over the place. You've got knight moves. You've got like pawn moves. White has like 15 options in this position. So Nodirbek chooses to retreat the knight out of the center. We get e6, still part of the knight off. Now g4. You might say doesn't... why would you do this? Because now you allow g4. Because previously the light squared bishop covered that. Yeah, it's not important. g4. Attacking the knight. We're going to make sure our knight doesn't get attacked. So, like, again, the guys who are at the top of the tournament know now that Gukesh took the lead proper in the last round. Watch the recap for that. We had some technical difficulties, but it was still very good. They know that they need to chase Gukesh. And if Gukesh is playing a Pirtz and was better, you got to do something. You got to do something yourself. So the knight comes out and we attack the black knight. And now we just continue expanding on the queen side. Queen e1. And look at this. Look at this. The king's not castled and we've just pushed all of these pawns. And now they're striking back. They're like, hello, I have an open h file. I also haven't castled. I can't go long. So, you know, the kings are going to be in danger here. Short castles is an inaccuracy. Takes. You've just opened the h file where you have a castled king. Okay, how's this going to go wrong? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't. Like, Nodirbek Abdusattorov plays this game perfectly. We trade a set of rooks. We bring our knight back, offering an exchange. The bishop captures, threatening the pawn. Can't take it, obviously. We go here so that it's isolated on a dark square. We get our bishop in. Just because this cat would have pinned the queen. We disallow that. The rook slides over as to not, blunder a rook. And the black king never gets safe. It never gets safe. And eventually we get here. This king is not safe. The rook is facing it. The queen can outflank it and come this way. Ironically enough, white's king is perfectly safe. And a couple of inaccuracies, first with rook h5 and then with bishop d8. Now here Nodirbek does something funny. He takes a pawn with check, which is really funny, and it's a mistake. If and only if you take the pawn, which any normal human being takes. Just takes the pawn, black is better. It's minus 1.7, minus 1.1. But yeah, knight e3. I would still probably take this position with white. That shows you my position understanding. And here, bishop g5. If you blunder the game back, it's now a draw. Again, the only move to draw is queen d1. Does Nodirbek find it? Yes, he does. Because you have to now move the rook. And now we can bring the queen over. And we are attacking the black king relentlessly, getting all the pieces in. We snap off that knight to push the pawn, which is a mistake. But how can you not? It's such a natural move. You might say, well, takes. And then I see this. Nope, now it's a draw. Because of just taking here. Nope. It's rook takes d5. You protect the knight and you get in and attack the king. Anyway. So we get d takes, rook takes, queen over, attacking the rook. We can now grab this pawn. And all your central pawns are fallen. It's a nice idea. You might say, oh, this is a pin winning the rook. It's not winning the rook because we can go here with check. And a fatal mistake from Alexei Sarana. Nodirbek gave him a chance. This game was a draw multiple times, but when it's so tactical, when the kings are in the firing line, there's only one move here. It's king g8. Basically saying, well, I can get escape this way. Going to f8, as in the game, look, played with a minute on the clock, allows knight takes f6. We leave the rook to hang, because you can't take it, because you get forked. And mated, probably. So you can't take the rook. We give a check, and the king jumps up. And now you've just got to find a perpetual. You've got to mate the king or find a perpetual. We grab this pawn. We remove the knight. But the bishop comes in. We're threatening all sorts of mates. There's a check. We block with the rook. We give another check with the rook. By the way, you can 100% take this. You can 100% take it. But we don't. We move the king up. Queen f1. We block. We take the rook. We give a check. We try desperately to find a perpetual. It just doesn't come. And the winning move, king to c6, wins the game for Nodirbek Abdusattorov. And finally, Pragg R. He had a game against Vladimir Fedoseev. Both of these players chasing Gukesh. So this is a pivotal game. Not only do you kind of knock someone out of the race, you get closer to Gukesh. But of course, Gukesh won. So he's still going to be in the sole lead. So the question is, who falls away? Fedoseev was one of the people who were tied for second yesterday. I think Pragg was half a point behind, so Pragg can leapfrog Fedoseev. Remember, even if you don't win, the higher you finish, the more money you probably earn. Actually, I think at Tata Steel, you only get money if you win. I think all the other players are paid on appearance. That's enough blabber, though, about money. You don't care about money, you care about chess. d4. d5. Again, we've seen this a couple of times in the tournament. We get this. Now, this allows the bishop to come out, but not like a Nimsa Indian. Had you played it? So we get this, the Tarash defense, where you just play d5, c5. And what normally happens here is you get cd5 and d4, pushing to remove the knight. We get knight to e4, holding on to this, knight f6, and do we get games here? There's bishop g5 and stuff like this. This is normally how the game goes. Instead, we get cd5. Instead, after c5, we get cd5, ed5, and then the knights come out. Knight g5, pinning. The light squared bishop comes out. e3, and we block off the light squared bishop. Now I can only go to e2, or you can try and fianchetto it. But we play take on f6, and a very interesting decision made by Fedoseev here. 86. This is still in fairly well-known theory. Most of the games just go queen takes, because why not? you preserve your pawn structure. But Fedoseev, obviously looking to play for a win, decides to take with the g-pawn, ruining his pawn structure, but perhaps in the future giving him like rook g1. So we get g6, and we are going through with the plan to fianchetto over the bishop. Castles, castles. You would say, why would you castle? Well, you can still get your king to h8 and then bring the rook. Like, your king is safer on h8 than going along, because white, it's a little bit more difficult for white to get an attack going. So we retreat the knight, and we plant it very shortly. After kicking out the bishop and moving our knight to the edge of the board, we can strike in the center with e4, and there's the plan, rook g1, but white's winning. White's winning. Like, the advantage is just swelled because black hasn't played optimally, and black has compromised their structure almost irreparably. Like, you are going to have to find very accurate moves and hope white doesn't find the most accurate moves. Like rook e1, not the most accurate move. The advantage now drops down below +1. The best move here is queen to c2 or queen to d2. Those are the only moves that keep the advantage above +1. But rook e1, the bishop retreats. Now queen to c2 to move all the thing. +1 again though. But we just look at this. Pragg knows what he's doing. Like, you can see 29 minutes to 21. No real time advantage, 10 minutes or so. But with this amount of time, it's nothing. Fedoseev's pieces are not arranged as they should be. Like, Pragg has brought his rooks to the center of the board. He's brought his queen in. It always sees this diagonal. This knight does look stupid, but it might jump in to f5. This knight might come here to f4. And you're always striking in the center. Like, there's some good future prospects for Pragg. That is why he's winning. And we've got, even though black has got two bishops, they don't mean much. So we can get this trade. And very important, we don't want to trade everything. Like, you don't want to do this, because then the advantage is just going to disappear. In fact, like here, it's 0.7. Like, your advantage is gone. Where do you get your play from? Because this pawn will be weak. And eventually, this pawn won't be a weakness either. You will get your bishop out on this diagonal. The rook will come back to the center because kind of attacking the king, the prospects are gone. So bishop e4, keeping the bishop on the board. And now a very creative move. Very creative. Knight f4. The trick is you can't take it, obviously, because of the pin. So it survives, and now, we're looking to see what we can do to the king. But look at that. You sacrifice a pawn for it. The rook has to stay on the file. The bishop retreats. And now we're going to go look at those light squares that you weakened because you fianchetted the bishop. So the king slides over. Rook slides over. Now this is 100% a free knight. 100% a free knight. It doesn't get taken, though, because instead of that, Pragg plays bishop back, attacking the rook, which is a very strange decision. What's even more strange is that we have rook h6. Once again, hanging the knight. Although this time you really can't take it because you just lose your knight. Like, that was the whole idea of moving the rook to the file, is that if you ever took the knight, your knight hangs. So, but rook to h6, a strange move. d5. That's a good move. Like, attacking the light squared bishop, it doesn't really have many choices. It has to go to h3. And now you bring your light squared bishop out. The rook can move up a square. You move your knight to offer an exchange because this knight's annoying. And it's always posing problems to you. And, covering king's squares and stuff like that. Knight takes a2. Queen takes here. And you've got some tough choices. Here, you can play rook e5. Rook e5 is a move, is the best move, because you pin the bishop and you're threatening to win it. It is the best move. Obviously, though, white can just move the queen out the way. But the best move in this position, ironically, you can play queen d2 or you can play knight f3. Because if knight f3, then you attack the rook. The rook has to maybe go back to like d here. And then now you play queen e2, and you get in on the dark squares. That is what should happen. But instead we play f4, which is fine. After rook e5 was played, rook e5 did get played. The bishop now attacks the queen, danger levels. We move, so now black goes up the exchange. No, they don't. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not good enough to explain this game to you. I really am not. Like, there was a knight hanging that never got taken. There's just a rook there. But you don't elect to take it and you elect to bring your rook here. I don't understand these grandmasters and the way they play chess. They are playing chess with like no time on the clock, but I don't understand. Surely the whole idea of attacking the queen when it was here was to win the rook that was behind it. That's just the basic skewer. Now you can't do that. Now we sacrifice a pawn to get the rook in, which is a mistake. Because now white is going to get to this king, ironically. You would think with all these pieces that the white king is going to be in trouble. No. So queen e2, we get the trade, and now this is positionally lost. Because we give a check, and we attack the dark square bishop, it can sacrifice. Again, the idea is this. And this is a draw. Even though you've got these two pawns are weaknesses, and everything will just cancel out. So instead we get d6. Now you can take, and again, not even this, which would like result in here, and the knight would fall and stuff like that. Not even this. Anyway, we push the pawn again. Now it's only one square away from queening. Now we sacrifice the rook. We take the knight. But we just move out the way. You can take my rook, but then I queen. And this is just completely winning. Instead of taking anything, dealing with anything here on the king side, we just push the pawn all the way up the board. 8 queens. So we get rook takes h2. The king slides over. And we grab this. And d8 is queen. The bishop retreats. But now you're just... so materially, you've got a bishop for a queen. It's mate in 12 for white, but Fedoseev keeps playing. Queen here, check. We give another check, and here the game is over. Vladimir Fedoseev resigns. Because there's nothing you can do. It's mate in 10. And even if Fedoseev doesn't see mate in 10, like at the very least, you can give one more check and win this rook. Well, not win the rook, but you can take the rook. The bishop will come off, and you'll just be fine. So a huge, huge win for Pragg R. And now I will pull up the standings for you.
A few moments later.
So you can see now after 10 rounds, we have Gukesh, the world champion, who leads the event with 7.5 out of 10. Absolutely incredible. He's like the last few rounds, he's just 1 and 1 and 1. He is followed half a point behind by Abdusattorov. Their game ended in a draw. Like, they don't play each other. So Abdusattorov has to hope that he wins more games than Gukesh. He's got to win at least 2, probably, if Gukesh just draws to win the event. Because if Gukesh just draws, Abdusattorov has to win 2 to pass him. Like, 3 rounds left. It looks like Gukesh is going to win the first tournament as world champion. Absolutely incredible. Nodirbek half a point behind. Pragg R now a whole point behind. So he has his work cut out for him. If he wants to win this event, he's basically got to win every game left. 3 wins. Fedoseev probably out the running now. 1.5 points behind. With 3 rounds to go, probably not possible. Gukesh would have to lose everything, and you'd have to probably win all 3. 3 points would take him to 9, so maybe not quite. But yeah, Gukesh would have to lose at least 1 game. Like, I don't think Gukesh is going to lose. That's just the thing. And, like, I feel really bad for Nodirbek. He's had a fantastic tournament. He hasn't lost. He's undefeated. He just hasn't won as many games as Gukesh. So maybe tomorrow he wins and Gukesh draws. And the two of them fight it out. But let me know what you think. Once again, we've got to give a shout out to Arjun Erigaisi, who's chilling in 13th. What a rough event. Today, Anish Giri did move into the top 7 after Alexei Sarana did suffer defeat, and Warmerdam obviously losing there as well. So the top 7, Gukesh, Nodirbek, Pragg R, then Vladimir Fedoseev, and then you've got kind of the people just floating in the middle having an alright event. Fabiano Caruana, Wei, the defending champion, he's not defending that anymore. It will be going to Gukesh or Nodirbek Abdusattorov. And then, after Wei, it is Anish Giri, who's at least got himself into the top half. He's only suffered the 1 defeat, but did pull it back with a win, drawn all his other games. Wei, undefeated, but just chilling in 6th because he hasn't won enough games. He's just drawing all the time. So a very fascinating turn of events and a scenario. So let me know what you think down below in the comments.